16-year-old Liam sat cross-legged on his bed, the faint glow of his phone illuminating his face in the dark room. His thumbs moved quickly across the screen as he texted Ethan, his heart fluttering with each message. Outside, the crickets chirped beneath the vast rural sky, and the distant hum of the evening train echoed through the valley. It was a small town, the kind where everyone knew everyone, and secrets were hard to keep. But Liam had a secret he guarded with every ounce of his being. Downstairs, the sound of the television mixed with the low rumble of his grandfather's voice. Samuel, his mother's father, was a retired preacher who had spent decades at the pulpit of the town's only church. Even in retirement, Samuel's presence was commanding, a man who believed the world was spiraling into sin and that it was his duty to protect his family from its corruption. Liam's parents respected him deeply, often deferring to his judgment on family matters, especially anything related to faith or discipline. Liam's heart skipped as a new message from Ethan popped up. "Can't wait to see you tomorrow." He smiled, a rare, genuine smile that made his face glow for a fleeting second. That's when the knock came. "Liam," Samuel's deep voice called from behind the door. "What are you doing in there, boy?" Liam quickly locked his phone and slid it under his pillow. "Nothing, Grandpa. Just reading." There was a pause, then the doorknob rattled, but Samuel didn't enter. "Don't stay up too late. You'll need your strength for Sunday service." "Yes, Grandpa." Liam waited until he heard the old man's footsteps fade down the hall before letting out a quiet sigh of relief. He retrieved the phone, staring at Ethan's message a moment longer before typing back. "Same here. Can't wait." Then he placed it face down, turning off the screen, knowing he couldn't risk being caught. The next day at school felt like any other, except for the anticipation building in Liam's chest. He and Ethan had been seeing each other for nearly 4 months, stealing moments between classes, holding hands in hidden corners, exchanging hurried kisses when no one was looking. Liam didn't know how long they could keep it up, but every moment with Ethan made the world outside seem a little less heavy. After school, they met behind the old library, a spot few people visited anymore. Ethan leaned against the brick wall, grinning as Liam approached. "Hey, you," Ethan said softly. "Hey," Liam whispered back, his smile shy but warm. Ethan reached out, pulling him into a hug, and for a moment, Liam felt safe, free from the shadows of his house, the stern gaze of Samuel, the weight of unspoken fear. "You okay?" Ethan asked, sensing the tension in him. "Yeah, just tired." Liam hesitated. "Grandpa's been watching me more lately." Ethan frowned. "He's intense. You sure it's safe?" Liam nodded, though a part of him wasn't sure at all. "I'll be fine, as long as he doesn't know about us." Later that evening, back home, Liam sat at the dinner table while Samuel led the family in prayer. Samuel's hands were clasped tightly, his voice booming with conviction as he thanked God for keeping them righteous and prayed for protection against the sins of the flesh that plagued modern society. Liam kept his head bowed, but his stomach twisted with unease at his grandfather's words. After dinner, Liam retreated to his room. Sitting at his desk, he couldn't help but smile again as he reread Ethan's messages. That brief smile didn't go unnoticed. Samuel stood silently outside the door, peering through the small crack where it hadn't fully closed. His eyes narrowed as he watched Liam grin at the glowing screen. Something stirred in Samuel's gut, an old, familiar suspicion. Quietly, he pulled the door shut without making a sound, the wheels already turning in his mind. "Who's filling that boy's head?" Samuel muttered under his breath as he walked away. Upstairs, Liam remained oblivious, his heart light for a few fleeting moments, unaware that the walls around him were closing in. The afternoon sun cast long shadows across the small town as Liam hurried down the cracked sidewalk, backpack slung over one shoulder. He checked over his shoulder once, then again, as if some part of him felt the invisible weight of eyes following him. Behind him, unnoticed, Samuel stood at the corner of the street, blending into the faded buildings like a figure carved from stone. His narrowed eyes followed Liam's every step. Samuel had seen the way Liam smiled at his phone, how he slipped away after school instead of coming straight home. For weeks now, Samuel's suspicions had grown like a thorn twisting in his chest. Today, he decided to follow, quietly, methodically. The boy had been sneaking off to somewhere, and Samuel had nowhere. Liam rounded the corner of the old church, walking behind the building toward the empty lot shaded by tall oaks. Samuel kept a safe distance, stepping lightly despite the stiffness in his knees. He pressed himself against the church's stone wall, peering cautiously around the edge. There they were. Liam stood with another boy. Ethan, Samuel recalled, a kid from town whose family didn't attend their church. The two were close, speaking softly, their words carried away by the breeze. Then Ethan leaned in, and Liam met him halfway. Their lips touched in a brief, tender kiss. Liam's face lit up with quiet joy, and Ethan smiled warmly, brushing a hand across Liam's cheek. Samuel felt something cold settle deep in his bones. His jaw clenched, and his hands curled into fists at his sides. He watched, unmoving, his eyes hard and unblinking. He turned away, without a sound. Samuel walked back toward the road, each step deliberate, heavy with an unspoken fury. He didn't confront them. Not yet. This revelation needed preparation, correction, purification. That evening at the dinner table, the air hung thick and brittle. Liam sat across from Samuel, picking at his food, feeling the weight of his grandfather's stare. Samuel said nothing throughout the meal. His silence was louder than any sermon, his gaze steady, cold, unreadable. Liam's parents chatted about mundane things, crops, a neighbor's illness, an upcoming church fundraiser, oblivious to the silent tension stretching between grandfather and grandson. Every time Liam dared glance up, he found Samuel watching, eyes sharp beneath thick brows. By the time dinner ended, Liam's stomach twisted in knots. He escaped to his room as soon as he could, shutting the door gently, trying to breathe. He didn't hear the heavy footsteps in the hallway until it was too late. Samuel entered without knocking, pushing the door open wide. Liam shot up from his bed, startled. "Grandpa." Samuel didn't speak. His eyes went straight to the bedside table. He reached down, grabbed Liam's phone, and turned it over in his calloused hands. "No. Please." Liam stepped forward, but Samuel held out an arm, stopping him effortlessly. With a practice swipe, Samuel unlocked the phone, scrolling through the recent messages. His lips thinned as he read, "Can't wait to hold you again. You make me feel safe. Love you." Samuel's nostrils flared. He lowered the phone, his voice low but edged with iron. "So this is what you've been hiding." Liam swallowed hard, his chest pounding. "It's private. It's mine. Private." Samuel's voice rose slightly, a tremor of controlled rage beneath. "No, boy. This is sin. This is sickness." He shook the phone in the air like an accusation. "You've been led astray by the devil himself." "No, it's not like that." Liam's voice cracked, trembling. "I'm still me, Grandpa." Samuel stepped closer, looming over him. "You've been poisoned, tempted. But I'll cleanse this. I won't let the devil keep his claws in you." Liam backed away until he hit the wall, his heart in his throat. He'd never seen his grandfather's face like this. So calm, so cold, like a man preparing for battle. Samuel turned and walked toward the door, phone still in hand. "We'll speak again in the morning," he said without looking back. "After I pray on what must be done." He left, shutting the door with a quiet finality. Liam slid down the wall to the floor, pulling his knees to his chest. His hands shook. Tomorrow felt like a dark, growing storm. And tonight, he realized his secret wasn't a secret anymore. Liam's eyes fluttered open, but the world around him felt wrong, darker, colder. His head throbbed, a dull ache spreading across his temples as he tried to sit up, only to feel the sharp pull of cold metal around his wrists. His hands were shackled, chained to a thick iron ring bolted into the stone wall. His legs were similarly restrained, leaving him only enough slack to sit or lie down, but not stand. The basement smelled of damp earth, old wood, and the faint sting of smoke. Flickering candlelight cast eerie shadows across the room. Liam's gaze darted around, taking it in. The crosses nailed to the beams, the tattered Bible lying open on a makeshift altar, the rusted tools hanging from nails. A length of rope, a belt, a wooden rod. It looked like something out of a nightmare, or worse, a ritual. "Ah, you're awake." Samuel's voice drifted from the shadows. The old man stepped forward, dressed in his black Sunday coat, a white collar tight around his neck. His eyes gleamed with something unsettling. Not anger, not warmth, but a quiet, fanatical resolve. "Grandpa," Liam's voice cracked with fear. What is this?" Samuel crouched beside him, placing a hand gently on Liam's shoulder. "A place of healing, boy. A place where your soul can be made right again." Liam recoiled, rattling the chains. "Please let me go." Samuel sighed, as if Liam were a stubborn child refusing medicine. "I can't let you go, Liam. Not while the devil's grip is still on you." He stood, walking slowly toward the altar, picking up the Bible. "I prayed last night. God showed me the path. You've been deceived, but he has chosen me to cleanse you." Liam's breath quickened. No, Grandpa, you don't understand. I'm not sick. I'm not evil." Samuel's face hardened as he flipped through the Bible's worn pages. "You think I don't know, boy? I saw you. I saw what you did behind his house. You kissed that boy like a woman. You let him touch you. And you smiled." His voice trembled with disgust. "But we will drive it out. I'll save you." He held up the Bible, fingers stabbing at a verse. "If a man lies with a man as with a woman, both have committed an abomination." Samuel's gaze bore into Liam. "But God is merciful, Liam. Through suffering comes redemption." Liam pulled at the chains desperately, tears welling in his eyes. "Please, I'm still me. I'm still your grandson." Samuel turned away, busying himself lighting another candle. "You are mine, but you are his first." His voice lowered. "And I will not let Satan take you." Upstairs, the muffled sound of voices floated down. A knock at the door, Liam's mother calling out. Samuel smiled faintly. "Your mother asked where you were this morning." He glanced down at Liam. "I told him you left a note. Said you needed space. That you went off to think." Liam's heart sank. They believe you?" "Of course they do." Samuel set the Bible down, walking toward the tools on the wall. His hand hovered over the belt before choosing a slender wooden rod. He ran his fingers along its surface thoughtfully. "They won't be looking for you, Liam. Not yet." The old man approached, looming in the flickering light. "Now, let's begin." Liam shrank back as far as the chains allowed, his chest heaving, panic rising in his throat. Outside, birds chirped under the morning sun, unaware of the prayers whispered in the dark below. Time blurred in the dim basement. Liam couldn't tell how many hours had passed, whether it was morning, afternoon, or deep into the night. The flickering candles never seemed to go out, and the small, barred window near the ceiling let in no light, only the faint sound of wind or rain. His body ached from the cold floor, the chains biting into his wrists and ankles, skin raw beneath the metal. Samuel sat across the room, reading aloud from the Bible in a low, rhythmic chant. His voice was steady, unwavering, as though the words were casting a spell over the space. Occasionally, he would pause, looking up at Liam with that same mix of pity and resolve. "You must pray harder, Liam," Samuel said, standing slowly. "You haven't opened your heart yet." "I'm trying," Liam whispered hoarsely, his lips cracked from thirst. "Not hard enough." Samuel poured a small cup of water, then set it just out of Liam's reach. "When you're ready to confess, it's yours." Liam's eyes locked onto the water, but his arms couldn't stretch far enough. His throat burned. "Please, I didn't do anything wrong." Samuel sighed, pulling an old television and VHS player closer from the corner. Still stubborn. "Then you'll watch." He slid a tape into the machine, and the screen lit up with static before showing a grainy video of a young man strapped to a chair, crying as voices shouted prayers around him. "This," Samuel explained, "was me. Years ago." His voice softened, almost fond. "I had those same urges, but I was saved." Liam watched in horror as the screen showed the man being doused with cold water, shouted at, hit with Bibles. You went through this?" Samuel nodded solemnly. "And I came out clean. You will too." Liam shook his head weakly. No, you can't. I'm not sick. You're deceived." Samuel turned off the TV abruptly. but I'll show you the way. The hours dragged. Samuel made Liam kneel, forced him to recite prayers until his knees were bruised and his voice raw. Each time Liam faltered or refused, Samuel would lower the water closer, only to pull it back again. "Confess, and you'll be free," Samuel murmured. But Liam's mind was unraveling. By the second day, without proper food or water, shadows danced at the edge of his vision. He saw Ethan's face flicker in the candlelight, heard his voice echoing faintly from the walls. "Liam, Liam, where are you?" the phantom whispered. "Ethan." Liam blinked rapidly. I'm here. But Ethan wasn't there. Only Samuel, watching silently, hands folded in his lap. Meanwhile, above ground, Ethan paced outside Liam's house, chewing his lip anxiously. He hadn't heard from Liam in days, and Liam's phone had gone straight to voicemail. Something didn't feel right. Gathering his courage, Ethan knocked on the front door. Samuel answered, wearing a warm, grandfatherly smile. "Ethan, isn't it?" Samuel said calmly. "Liam left a note. Said he's gone away for a while. Needed space. He doesn't want to see you anymore." Ethan's face fell. "What? He wouldn't say that." "He did." Samuel stepped forward, voice gentle but firm. "It's better this way. For both of you." Ethan hesitated, his gut twisting. Can I just see him? Talk to him?" "I'm afraid not." Samuel placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder, guiding him toward the steps. "Go home, son. Pray for him, if you care." Reluctantly, Ethan walked away, glancing back over his shoulder. The curtains at the window stirred slightly, but no face appeared. Inside, Samuel bolted the door behind him, his smile fading. He descended the stairs once more, returning to the basement. "Don't worry," he whispered to Liam's trembling form. "He won't be back." Liam's vision swam again, Ethan's imagined voice fading into silence. Only Samuel's prayers remained, filling the dark with steady, relentless words. The basement was eerily silent except for the sound of metal scraping against stone. Liam stirred from a restless, feverish sleep, his wrists raw and bleeding beneath the shackles. His head pounded, and every bone in his body ached, but it wasn't the pain that made his stomach twist with dread. It was the rhythmic, grinding sound. He slowly lifted his head and saw Samuel sitting at the workbench across the room, hunched over something. The faint glow of the candlelight reflected off a small, glinting object in Samuel's hands. Liam's breath hitched when he realized what it was, an old, rusted surgical blade. Samuel moved the blade carefully against a sharpening stone, drawing it back and forth with deliberate, meticulous strokes. "Tonight," Samuel murmured, not looking at Liam, "we finish this." Liam's chest tightened. What do you mean?" His voice cracked. Samuel stood, holding the blade up to inspect its edge. "The source of your sickness must be removed." He turned slowly, his shadow stretching long across the floor. "It's the only way to cleanse you, Liam. To save your soul." Liam's pulse roared in his ears. No, please." He yanked hard against the chains, the metal cutting deeper into his skin. "You can't, Grandpa, please." Samuel walked to the center of the room, placing candles in a circle around Liam, whispering prayers under his breath. "This isn't punishment," Samuel said softly. "This is love, true love." Liam's panic surged into raw terror. He pulled at the chains with everything he had, twisting, wrenching, scraping his skin until he felt warm blood on his wrists. "Ethan," he whispered helplessly. "Someone, please." Samuel approached slowly, blade in hand, raising it above Liam's trembling body. "In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, no." Liam screamed, kicking wildly, knocking over one of the candles. "Please stop." Samuel grabbed Liam's leg, holding it down with surprising strength. "Hold still, child," he commanded, positioning the blade. Liam thrashed harder, managing to slip one wrist partially free from the bloody shackle. He swung at Samuel blindly, his nails scratching across Samuel's face. Samuel grunted, but didn't let go. The blade lowered. And then, bang, bang, bang. A loud knock echoed from upstairs. Samuel froze mid-prayer, his head snapping toward the ceiling. The knocking came again, louder, more urgent. Samuel, a muffled voice called from above. It's the sheriff. Open the door. For a heartbeat, everything was still. Liam lay panting, his body trembling, hope flickering wildly in his chest. Samuel's grip on the blade tightened, his jaw clenched in fury and fear. Above them, the knock turned into pounding fists. Samuel, we need to talk. Open up. Samuel's eyes returned to Liam, dark and conflicted. Slowly, he backed away, lowering the blade. Not yet, he whispered grimly. He turned, climbing the stairs, leaving Liam in the circle of flickering candles, chains rattling softly in the silence. The banging grew louder, more urgent. Samuel, this is the police. Open the door. Liam's heart soared at the sound, but the brief flicker of hope was quickly overshadowed by terror when he saw Samuel's face twist with fury. Samuel's hands trembled around the blade as he turned back toward Liam, his voice rising into a frantic, desperate prayer. They can't take you, Samuel hissed. They'll drag you straight to hell, boy. I must finish this before they defile you further. He rushed back down the stairs, raising the blade again. Liam screamed, pulling at the chains with every ounce of strength left in him. The flickering candlelight danced wildly across Samuel's sweat-drenched face as he muttered scripture, the blade descending toward Liam's trembling body. Boom! A crash erupted upstairs as the front door burst open. Heavy footsteps stormed inside, followed by the unmistakable sound of voices shouting commands. Police! Samuel, stay where you are. But Samuel was beyond reason. The Lord commands me, he roared, gripping Liam's leg tighter, bringing the blade closer. I won't let you fall to Satan's grip. Suddenly, the basement door splintered open. A beam of light flooded down the stairs as two officers barreled in, guns drawn, Ethan trailing behind them with wide, tear-filled eyes. There he is, Ethan cried. Liam, drop the weapon, one officer shouted. Hands in the air, Samuel. Samuel snarled, pivoting slightly toward them, but keeping the blade poised. You cannot stop the will of God, he bellowed, lunging downward. A single shot rang out, into the wall beside Samuel's head. I said drop it. The second officer rushed forward, tackling Samuel with full force. The blade clattered across the floor, skidding into the shadows. Samuel struggled wildly beneath the officer's weight, spitting curses, screaming verses from the Bible as they wrestled him into cuffs. You can't stop this. His soul is sick. I saved him. I saved him. Samuel shrieked as they dragged him up the stairs. Meanwhile, Ethan rushed to Liam's side, eyes wide with horror at the blood, the chains, the bruises. Oh my God, Liam. Hang on, I'm here. Liam's eyelids fluttered weakly. Ethan, he whispered, his lips cracked and dry. It's okay. You're safe now. Ethan promised, even as paramedics pushed past him, cutting the chains, lifting Liam carefully onto a stretcher. Pulse is weak. He's dehydrated and losing blood, one paramedic called. We need to move now. Liam's body was lifted out of the basement, the night air cool against his fevered skin as sirens wailed in the distance. He blinked up at the stars, tears spilling down his cheeks. Samuel's shouts echoed faintly from the squad car, his voice still filled with righteous conviction as the police closed the door on him. But for the first time in days, Liam wasn't afraid. He was free. The sterile white ceiling was the first thing Liam saw when his eyes fluttered open. A faint beeping pulse beside him, steady and rhythmic. His body felt heavy, numb, wrapped in bandages and blankets. Slowly, he turned his head. His mother sat beside him, her eyes swollen from crying, clutching his hand as if afraid to let go. His father stood at the window, staring silently into the distance. You're awake, his mother whispered, a fragile smile trembling on her lips. Oh, thank God. Liam blinked, his throat dry. Ethan, he rasped. He's okay, she assured him quickly. He's been here every day. He's just getting some rest. She paused, her face falling slightly. We didn't know. About Samuel. About what he did. Her voice cracked. I'm so sorry, baby. Tears welled in Liam's eyes. He turned away, unable to meet her gaze. Outside the hospital walls, the world had erupted. News vans lined the street. Headlines flashed across TVs and phones. Local preacher arrested for attempted mutilation in religious cleansing incident. The small town, once quiet and unified, was now fractured. Some called Samuel a monster, a madman who had tortured his own grandson. Others, whispering in pews and parking lots, muttered that he was only trying to protect the boy from sin, that he'd been misguided but not evil. The trial began 2 weeks later. Cameras swarmed the courthouse as protesters and supporters alike gathered outside. Signs ranged from "Justice for Liam" to "Samuel did God's work." Inside the courtroom, Liam sat nervously at the witness stand. His hands trembled as he adjusted the microphone. Across the room, Samuel sat in an orange jumpsuit, his eyes fixed on Liam, cold and unwavering. "Please, Liam," the prosecutor said gently, "tell the court what happened." Liam swallowed hard. His voice shook at first, but grew stronger with each word. He recounted the basement, the chains, the prayers, the blade. Every moment of fear, every plea unanswered. His mother wept quietly in the front row. Samuel never flinched. When his lawyer stood to speak, Samuel interrupted, rising to his feet. "I do not repent," Samuel declared loudly, silencing the room. "I acted out of love. The Lord commands we cut away evil. I saved him from damnation." Gasps rippled through the gallery. Liam's heart pounded in his chest. The judge banged the gavel, demanding order. But in that moment, Liam realized something chilling. Samuel wasn't sorry. He never would be. And somehow, that made it hurt even more. The courtroom fell silent as the judge delivered the sentence. "Samuel Wright, you are hereby sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole." A collective exhale swept through the room. Liam sat between his parents, his hands clasped tightly in his lap, his gaze fixed forward. Samuel didn't react. He stood unmoved, his lips silently mouthing scripture as officers led him away in shackles. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed, cameras flashing, microphones reaching. Liam's mother wrapped her arm around him protectively, shielding him from the chaos. "Let's go home," she whispered. That night, the house felt hollow. His father sat at the kitchen table, his face buried in his hands. His mother hovered anxiously, wanting to comfort, but unsure how. Finally, she sat beside Liam on the couch. "I should have seen the signs," she murmured. "We both should have. We failed you, Liam. I'm so sorry." Liam didn't know what to say. He leaned against her, letting her arm circle him. He wanted to forgive, but the wound was still raw. A week later, Liam packed his bags. His parents hugged him tightly at the bus station, tears in their eyes. "Your Aunt Clara will take good care of you," his mother said. "Call us anytime." The city felt like another world. Tall buildings, bustling streets, noise that never stopped. But in his aunt's cozy apartment, Liam found a small sense of peace. Clara gave him space, but checked in gently. She helped him find a therapist, a kind woman named Dr. Patel who listened without judgment. In their sessions, Liam slowly unpacked the nightmare he had survived. Some days, the memories crushed him. Other days, he glimpsed a future beyond the pain. Healing wasn't a straight line, but it had begun. One sunny afternoon, Liam walked through a city park. The air smelled of spring, the trees alive with green. And sitting on a bench beneath a blossoming cherry tree, Ethan. They hadn't spoken much since the trial. But now, Ethan stood as Liam approached, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. "Hey," Ethan said softly. "Hey," Liam replied. They sat together in silence, watching the world move around them. Slowly, Liam reached out, and Ethan took his hand. Their fingers intertwined, steady, warm. No promises. No guarantees, just this moment. And for now, it was enough. A quiet voice rose in Liam's mind, calm and resolute. "They try to take away who I was, but I'm still here. I'm still me." And as they sat side by side beneath the blooming tree, the sun breaking through the clouds, Liam allowed himself to believe there was still hope.